gets berated on the podcast we've created to commemorate action flicks, big horror, no tricks. John Travolta, Chuck Norris, insane clown posse, no fuss, no mercy, we discuss. Everything gets berated, no one is underrated. From the screen to the stage, except a new cage. No mercy, we engage.
Welcome to Everything Gets Berated, the podcast where we talk about everything other than indie horror. I'm Anthony.
What is up, everybody? I am Brian with a B. But you know what? We could do an indie horror on this. Technically, because it's everything.
We have. Those are just the free ones.
No mercy.
There's one that I want to do for this, but yeah.
Could you imagine if we did fucking The Wrath of Paul Bunyan on it? Everything Gets Berated? That'd be amazing, man.
It would.
It would be really sad. Remember when, if you haven't seen The Wrath of Paul Bunyan yet, like, what the fuck?
Axe Giant, yeah.
The Axe Giant, whatever.
Yeah.
It's sad when they reveal the ending of it, and you're like,
oh, I felt bad for him.
Son of a bitch.
He's misunderstood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he grows really tall, then shrinks really short, then grows really tall.
It's confusing. It's got to be.
Like Hulk. Remember there was that Hulk that every time he'd get mad, the madder he got, the bigger he got, and you're just like, Jesus, how are you going to calm him down now? Like, you can't.
Use breathing exercises. But yeah. All right. Today we are talking about 1986's Legend, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Tom Cruise, Mia Sara, probably saying that wrong, Mia Sara, Tim Curry, David Bennett, and Alice Playten. Oh, and Billy Barty.
Did Tim Curry's son grow up to be in the NBA?
I think that's a different Curry.
Oh, never mind.
That's Del Curry.
Oh,
now he played for the Spurs or something.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah. But okay. So this movie is the story of a young man from the forest and the woman he loves, who is a princess, send the world into peril by getting the unicorns unnecessarily attacked, and it nearly plunges, or is set to plunge the world into darkness, so the devil darkness can walk the land. Did I nail that?
Yeah. The gist of the movie is some homeless looking fucking Peter Pan kid fucking tries to save the world by not letting the devil kill unicorn.
Yeah.
All while the devil is trying to smash princess.
Who also, the forest guy, Jack, is also trying to smash.
Is he, though?
I mean...
You know what I'm saying?
He showed her the unicorns.
I wish she would have showed him the unicorns.
But, okay, a little bit of background on this. So we watched the director's cut on this movie. Basically, for this director's cut to get made, like, there were two versions. The one that we get now is this, like on TV, is this chopped up version with a new soundtrack and is like 26 minutes shorter. Because the test audiences hated the original version so much that they changed the music, chopped it up, and put a scroll in the front to explain all the stuff they took out.
Yep.
Which, like, there's a bunch of problems with that. But basically, the original score was from Jerry Goldsmith, the guy that did Gremlins and a bunch of other timeless 80s movies. he was replaced by a 1960s Swedish band. I probably got that wrong, but Tangerine Dream.
What?
And yeah, their music is not as good. It's really not as good. Also, you see darkness in his physical form way earlier in the movie. It's like 5 seconds into the movie. He's sitting in a chair.
What version was that?
That's the theatrical version here in the United States.
I liked the theatrical opening better.
Oh yeah, it kind of gets to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get this because we don't see him fully without like lighting effects and like shading and
I mean, it seems
like trying to scare him for like 2 acts of the movie until we actually see him.
I don't know. I just remember, we watched the director's cut, and then it just seemed like the theatrical version. It had like a 5-minute opening that was so much better than the director's cut opening.
Oh, it really gets but
then it goes right into. So the weird thing is, like, the theatrical version, they just added like a 5-minute part to the front of the movie, and then it went into the rest of the movie like it was in the director's cut. You're like, so what the fuck?
But then it also cuts out a bunch of Tom Cruise's lines. So like he looks like he doesn't talk at all for like the first 45 minutes of the movie.
He didn't.
Well, yeah,
I'm pretty sure that in this movie,
has lines, yeah.
If dude, so much, I didn't think there'd be a lot of movies that are less like than fucking Fast and Furious.
No, this one is. I watched it twice, and the second time, I wasn't as in love with it.
I remember. So I have a brother, and I have got a couple brothers, but I have a brother that I think he liked this movie, and I called him up and I said, "Why the fuck did you like this movie?" Like I was asking him, like, "What the hell did you see in this movie, man?" Like. We'll talk about it later as we go on, but yeah, it just did not I don't know.
But yeah,
anyways,
but some interesting stuff about this director's cut. Basically, they had to take the European version of the film and cut it in with the American version to get all the necessary scenes, and then some guy in England had a copy on tape of the soundtrack from the original version of it, and they had to use that and remaster it for the director's cut, and it's this whole Frankensteining thing. And then
and they probably found the guy because there's probably only one person in the entire fucking world
that would bother to have that tape.
Yeah. So I mean, kudos for that guy. I wonder if he sold it. You know what I'm saying?
He gave it to Ridley Scott.
Oh, fucking bad move, bro.
But he probably got compensated.
What?
He probably got compensated to give it to Ridley Scott.
But you know what I'm saying? What if Ridley Scott's like, okay, you paid $11.99, I'll refund you for the $11.99.
Well, he probably gave him some kind of hookup. When you give a ball back at a game that's supposed to be a really important ball, they give you a bunch of jerseys and season tickets. I
did not know that.
Yeah, sometimes they'll compensate. Like when Ohtani wanted his ball back.
Well, that's because that one was, I'd say, nah, eBay, here I come.
Hell yeah. No. I'm going to say no. You can try to keep me, but I'm keeping the ball. But one other interesting... Hell yeah. One other interesting thing before we jump in was this movie was halted twice. Once because 007 was shooting on the studio over on the same lot, and their studio caught on fire, which messed up the studio where they were shooting Legend. And the second time because Tom Cruise's father died, so they took a break.
Could you? I mean, it's sad when people pass away, But could you imagine if you were fucking Tom Cruise in this movie and that was the last way your dad saw you as a fucking autistic, homeless Peter Pan? Right?
But this is
doing
also
front flips and shit.
Yeah, he's pretty athletic. I see where Mission Impossible comes in and he does all his stunts, but this was also right before Days of Thunder and everything else that kicked off after that for him, and right before Mia Sara did Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, I think Risky Business was coming out
right after this. Yeah, like right on the tails.
Dude, I like Tom Cruise. I like his movies. Right now he's good, but as a kid, when we watched this, like I thought the movie might have been cooler. I don't know. I just remember the big devil and Tom Cruise fighting him, and that's all I remember. But then watching movies as an adult that you thought were cool as a kid, if I would have been, I don't know, as old as I am right now, watching that movie back when it came out, I would be like, oh, this guy's never going to make it.
Oh, it has. This movie has flaws. Yeah.
This movie, dude, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but he did look like he, had special needs and he was homeless. And then maybe that's why they had to stop it, because OSHA was coming in there. It's like, hey, the handicapped people aren't allowed to work more than, 2 or 3 hours a day on set. And so they're like, God damn it, he's not handicapped. He's fucking perfectly fine. Like, and how come he's dressed like that? How come he looks like that? How come his hair is so greasy?
But he's also not the worst dressed. I mean, what's his name? Gump. The little boy in, I say little boy, the kid was 24.
The Malcolm in the Middle looking kid?
Yeah, he was 24 when they did this. Up. He looks like a child, and he's wearing a loincloth, and it felt weird. Yeah,
but he was a fairy or whatever the fuck he was.
No, he was a fairy, and then there was also, who was it? God, I can't think of the name right now. The other fairy that they meet later, the one that the girl that turns into Lily, Mia Sara's character, and tries to get Jack to kiss him. Or kiss her. She's in her 20s. Yeah, she's in her 20s.
She looked maybe in her 20s.
She looked like a little girl, though. She's very waifish.
Huh. I didn't really pay attention. I think by that time in the movie, I was like, God damn it. When are these credits coming?
Yeah.
But
we can kind of get into the story, the meat of the episode.
Yeah, so we open up with freaking the leprechaun.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember which one we're watching here, because I watched both and now they're kind of mixing. The director. We open up with the Blix, Pox, and Blunder were tasked to go find the unicorns by darkness, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah, not yet. We open up with that leprechaun, and he's going down and to talk to the devil or the darkness or whoever he is. He's not the devil, right? Because he was talking to somebody who was above him.
No, the voice you hear sitting in the chair, that's the devil. We just haven't seen him.
Who's the guy with the horns?
The big horns?
Yeah.
That's the devil. That's darkness.
He was talking to somebody above him.
No, there's nobody above darkness. Darkness is...
Dude, I'm telling you, there were some things where at some point, I think even when Tom Cruise, we'll get to the end of it, but even when Tom Cruise doing something, like he was looking above and being like, oh, I've failed you and this and this. You're just like, wait a second. I thought you were the man, dude. Like, nobody's bigger than you.
There are moments that are left unexplained and a little bit confusing.
Yeah. So basically, we open up with that leprechaun. He's coming back to the freaking devil's lair. And the devil holds out his finger for like a long ass nail. And the leprechaun looks at it like he's going to like touch his nose with it. Like, boop, I love you
like
too.
he's gonna,
You know,
devil knows, boop, boop.
right? He's like, boop, we're best friends, you know? And then I always love it. Like, that devil is like jacked. Like, he's a giant motherfucker, right? And he's like, I can't do this job. I'm going to let this leprechaun do it for me. What?
Yeah.
No, instantly right there, you failed.
Well, no, this is your classic like 80s cartoon series plot where we never see Claw physically do anything in an Inspector Gadget episode until the final episode of the season, because we are furiously running out of story if we go that way.
Yeah.
It's paper thin plot. Like,
yeah. He's like, well, I can't do it. You know what? I'm going to trust this 2-foot tall leprechaun to do my dirty work.
I think they storyline it with the whole idea that he can't go out during the day because he's going to die.
Yeah. So then we open up and we're like, what? We're above where it's like nice weather and it looks like the Wizard of Oz. And there's always like gross ass looking creatures and a grumpy ass old lady doing laundry.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But my biggest takeaway from this entire thing, this is the cloudiest, nastiest air that I've ever seen in my life. How does anybody breathe without getting like little pieces of like spores and pollen in their mouth?
Yeah. They for sure have allergies.
Which,
could you imagine
like,
having asthma in that motherfucker?
I know.
Right?
You can't live in the forest. You can't breathe.
Yeah.
I can't breathe.
Yeah. And then
But
freaking...
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was about to say, there was that weird clock that for some reason, like, hypnotized her. Then it turned to snow. And then she, like, woke up. It's like, ooh, go back to normal weather.
She's getting a vision is the way I take it. Of what's about to happen. But what I think is odd is she's getting a vision of her own bad decision that she's about to make because she's an impulsive, like, little girl who just gets what she wants all the time.
Yeah, is that what she had that weird talk with her mom? And her mom's like, oh, don't do something like this. And then she's like, all right, mom. And then she fucking dips and goes into the forest to meet a fucking...
Well, I don't think we ever see her with her mom. We see her with this lady who is one of the forest people, just to establish that she's one of the good rich people.
No way. That was her mom and dad at that house.
Was it? Okay, maybe.
I'm pretty sure because then when they died, the first thing that she did when it was starting to freeze over was run back to that house and cried with those people.
That's not her mom. That's some lady she knows in the forest who's her friend, because it feels like that because she literally just walks into this lady's house and grabs a piece of bread.
Something. Whatever the fuck they eat.
But
no, I thought it was her mom. And then when she keeps saying, oh, I'm princess, I was like, bitch, I saw your house. You're not a princess.
That's not her house.
Dude.
That's not her house.
Super weird.
But one other thing I noticed in a lot of these portions, a lot of the lines are heavily ADR'd, like they went back and re-recorded because they were probably using like blowers to keep everything in the air. So it was so loud that you can't hear what anybody's saying. That's why it always looks like this is not Tom Cruise's native language, and they had to go back and have a voice actor fix his voice.
Dubbed up. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And then we finally meet homeless Peter Pan. And she's like, here's some cookies. And he's like, watch this shit. And does a front flip.
But did you catch that she was like, I made this for you? She says
maybe
that.
She did.
She didn't make it. She got that from the lady.
Her mom.
That's not her mom.
I would laugh if the director's like, look, Brian, you piece of shit. That wasn't her mom.
That's
you think if they live in that ugly shelter and she's a princess? You know? So,
yeah.
Have you ever seen well, his name's Krispy Kreme now, but he used to go by Froggy Fresh.
Oh, yeah.
No.
He's the baddest of them all.
Froggy Fresh now. He used to go by Krispy Kreme, Froggy Fresh, where he's like, Everybody want to hate him. He's like, they get scared when I backflip and he does a front roll. That's exactly the fucking thing I thought of when Jack, homeless Peter Pan, did this front flip. Like, oh, Cookies, watch this. Hi-ya! You know?
Mm-hmm.
And they zoom in on his face. You ever heard that? You're not ugly, you're just poor.
Yeah. Like, it just feels like oddly condescending the way she interacts with this lady. Like, I don't want to help your life circumstances. I just want to make you feel better.
Like, Tom Cruise had a mean-ass unibrow in this movie, you know? So he had a unibrow. And then, like, I know fake teeth because I have fake teeth. And they always were talking about when Tom Cruise first started in the movies, he had some jacked up teeth. Like, what's one of those theories that he has a tooth in the center of his head instead of, you know, a tooth side by side? And so looking back at it, yeah, the same with the Kardashians. I think Cristiano Ronaldo, all those people that are just, you know, supposed to be beautiful and handsome now, they aren't ugly. They just didn't have money to make themselves look good, you know?
Yeah, which that was one of my questions was, were those his actual teeth or was that like a prosthetic? Because they did look weird.
Nah, those were his actual teeth until he gets them fixed when he... Mm-hmm. So, what? He tells her that he's got a surprise for her today.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, all right.
Which, okay, so then he blindfolds her because as if there's some secret location in the forest where only the unicorns
rule that you don't do.
Yeah. Like, yeah, he blindfolds her and walks her to the unicorn location. This impulsive little girl, basically, like she feels like no rules have ever been applied to her ever. And she's never been told no.
While they're on their date,
yeah,
those leprechauns are spying on them.
Yeah,
so you're like, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, and then she kisses Tom Cruise's temple, even though she's blindfolded. She's like, oh, you know where I get this? And then finally, they go to some weird ass pond, and the two unicorns come in. Like, what is it? The fucking opening of those movies? Fucking thing is that?
Oh, the TriStar logo? Yeah.
And then the fucking trolls. I don't know what the fuck they are. Trolls, leprechauns.
Goblins, I believe.
Whoever the fuck. They're just like, oh, there's a one-horned mules. Right?
I mean, we're going to find out later one of them is not a goblin. But that's...
I don't fucking know.
We'll get there.
But Tom Cruise basically tells her, like, don't fucking touch them. Don't do anything to them. He's like, they only show love and laughter. Dark thoughts are unknown to them. Well, fucking good thing they've never met us, because I would fucking instantly fucking break their fucking preciousness.
My biggest thing with this was like, you know, the one thing that could spin the world into peril? Let me show this girl this who doesn't need to know this exists.
And then she acts like a little kid and it's like, can I go over there? No. Can I please go over there? No. What about now? Can I go over there and touch him? No. And he keeps telling her and begging her, no, don't do it. Don't do it. She's like, fuck you. And she goes over there. Like, what a fucking skank, man.
I know.
Yeah. And then they do that big, huge slow motion run. And the trolls they do the slow motion run at her. And the trolls are trying to shoot him with a fucking blow dart. Like, what the fuck? That's your weapon of choice against a horse?
Which they get one and send them running. And then they follow them to the other side of the creek. I guess.
Yeah. But she did get that one to slow down. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And she almost touched it. Right? I think she did touch it.
She touches
it.
Then
starts singing to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was because of her. Yeah, she started singing to it. And then she touches it. And that's when the trolls are able to blast it.
That's right.
And then it takes off.
It slows it down long enough for them to shoot it. Yeah. And then they So then they follow it to the other side and cut the horn off the one.
Well,
Right? Yeah.
I thought that it ran away for a while.
Well, yeah, it runs away for a while. Yeah. And that's
And
what,
they must have tracked it, because then it really shows Jack looking super autistic and homeless. And he's so mad, but she still tries to kiss him.
yeah.
And he's like, "Help me," And then that's where he says something about her being a princess. And I'm just like, wait a second, this bitch is a princess?
Yeah, she's a princess. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when they tell her they're, now it's that she's a princess for some reason. Yeah.
Which this is the point where she tells Jack, gives him the weird quest, like, if you want to marry me, which my ears hear, because this is, old timiness, like, if you want to fuck me, like, you have to find this ring, and she chucks it into the water.
Chucks it off this gigantic ass cliff. And she's like, whoever gets this ring gets to marry me, and throws over a cliff. And he's like, all right. And he jumps in. You're just like, why would you throw it away? If you want the ring, why'd you throw it away?
So then we get that like shot of him going under the water. And then that's around the same time that they chop off the horn.
Yeah.
And then we see the darkness start to come in with the snow and all that.
And, because then when he's almost got that ring, but it keeps going down and down and down and down. Then he tries to swim up, and when he comes up, the top layer, the river, pond, lake, whatever, is now frozen. He has to fucking Shoryuken through it. And so she runs home, and she finds that, I'm still calling her their parents, they're trolls.
No, those are people she knows that live in the forest, because she's supposed to be one of the good rich people.
And the trolls are robbing them.
Yes. Because everybody's frozen, because apparently it's not just darkness over the land, it's eternal winter. Like, I was very lost on that part. Like,
you
didn't tell me eternal winter. Like, my first thought was, did they just not get the rights to Chronicles of Narnia, so they wrote something like it, but just different enough that it doesn't count? Like, I'm thinking it's an I know what you did last summer situation.
Yeah. So then the main troll, he has the horn, and he's fucking magic now. And starts dozing all these stupid magic tricks for his other troll friends. And then I think the devil shows up, gets mad at him, right?
Oh yeah, because they're in the cave. Because Blitz, Pox, and Blunder, they're in the cave. And the big shadow of the devil shows up to tell them to stop fucking around and get back there.
Yeah. So then we cut over to, I think, Tom Cruise, and he's asleep. But it's winter, but he's by a fire, but he's not cold. And then that's where Malcolm in the Middle shows up in his fucking there's fucking whatever, his hairy underwear.
They did something to his voice, because he sounds like a small child.
Yeah, and he basically tells Jack, like, hey, you fucked up, you idiot. Like, why would you do this? All for a piece of ass that you didn't even get?
The thing is, I'm on Gump's side here. He's an idiot. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like,
locked that down yet.
he's like, we can fix this. He's like, but you got to solve this riddle. And I don't remember what stupid riddle it was, but somehow
it was an easy riddle.
Yeah. Like, what is 2 plus 2? Ooh. And he fucking solves it super easy. And
I can't kill you. Darn it.
He throws a temper tantrum, like, oh, God damn it. I guess we got to save the world now.
So,
like,
is it just that forest people are bad at riddles and we just found the one that's actually good at them?
Or, like, maybe they weren't even hard. Like, did you ever watch The Office where Dwight tried to fucking do that to Ryan?
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan kept answering them even before he would finish off. He's like, oh, and he gets so pissed. And you're just like, bro, it's easy.
Yeah, these are easy, man. But, like, it was basically a riddle, the equivalent of, like, what's black and white and red all over? Like, yeah, a newspaper. Cool. All right. Like, can I go now?
Yeah. Yeah, and they then cheers and they all become friends.
That was a very weird interaction. It's like, you just plunged the world into darkness because you wanted to get some. So I'm mad at you, but then I give you an easy riddle, so now I'm not?
Yeah. And then they start going over and they find the unicorn that's run around. I guess they didn't kill that unicorn. They chopped its horn off. You know?
No, yeah, it's not dead.
Yeah. So then Jack kneels down and begs for forgiveness, you know? And the fucking unicorns, I'm pretty sure those are whales, not unicorns.
Like a narwhal?
They were like, and they were just fucking, sounds like whale calls, you know?
Yeah.
And Jack's like, he's like, we're going to have to get the horn back. And he's like, but I don't have any weapons.
Oh,
really?
Yes,
you say weapons?
So they have to go to this cave where there's a bunch of golden armor.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be. Yeah, I thought that was going to be a test.
No, it's just a cave.
Because there's just a cave with a bunch of gold, armor, weapons.
Which he grabs this, like, armor that is. I get it. They're trying to do this thing where he's just getting armor. It's not fitted to him, kind of thing. But it ends up looking like a gold sequin dress. Like if Diana Ross had armor. And he puts on Diana Ross's dress armor and has a sword. Like,
yep. So he's going through the obstacle course, and they made the comment of the purest of hearts, and so that's when the gold, and the entire time he just has the fucking dumbest look on his face. And you're like, God, I just want to punch it, Yeah. And then what? The devil comes and starts talking to the trolls. He's like, hey, I need that girl now. He's like, did you know the girl, she can procreate? And the trolls find the other unicorn. And what? The unicorn starts fighting them off? No, the troll person. Yeah. They were trying to go back. See, this is the part that confused me. Was he telling them to get the princess? Or is he telling them to get the girl unicorn?
No, I think he yells at them because they didn't get both unicorns. Because both unicorns have to be dehorned before the world can be fully plunged into darkness. I didn't realize there was like a halfway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's like not the girl.
Like, she can do it. Yeah. Because I was like, they should probably get the other unicorn. But then they're like, hey, we got this princess for you. So, one of the Malcolm in the Middle people was like, hey, you stay behind and protect this fucking unicorn while we go and try to save the world.
So that was...
Then he gets blasted.
That was Brown Tom. That's Cork Hubbard. He's a little person. Because I believe the other little person goes with him. That's Screwball. That's Billy Barty. He was in Willow, and he was in Masters of the Universe as Quildor. Yeah. I wish there was more of him. I like him. He's funny. He makes me laugh.
Yeah, they got to cross that ugly ass river, that foggy ass river.
Oh, this is where they meet I called her the bog hag, but
Jesus, the ugly ass monster.
But it's the name of the character is Meg Mucklebones.
Jesus, it sounds ugly.
It was a puppetry thing. He was actually played by a guy named Robert Picardo. Yeah. So, Meg focuses in on them and then takes a liking to Jack.
Well, I think she was going to eat him, right?
She was going to eat him, and then she falls in love with him because he starts putting the charm on.
Yeah, he said that he called her fair and heavenly beauty. And then she's like, all right. And then he fucking chops her head off. What a dick.
She's the designated ugly fat friend that never gets compliments, and the second she gets one,
she's the grenade.
She's just like, you love me.
Level 4 clinger. So chops her head off, And then they start going somewhere and they fall down that big ass tunnel. And luckily for them, they land in a cage. And, right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that big ass, a pig man, right? Starts chasing them.
Oh yeah. These are the butchers, right? In the,
yeah. So this is the first time we see those butchers.
Yeah.
But in the theatrical trailer, they showed them because, like, to get religious, when you go to hell, it's supposed to be, fiery down there, and you're supposed to be nonstop working and labor and stuff like that. And so there's a glimpse of these big dudes that are just working by fire and chopping wood and chopping shit and then throwing the fire, And so that's when you're just like, okay, they're in hell now. It's supposed to be hell. And then all of a sudden, this like big pig dude starts chasing them. Yeah, and they run back and hide inside their cage again.
Yeah, so they run back and hide in the cage. But then, who is it? Una, the fairy, the female fairy, shows up, and she says she will help them, but she wants a kiss from Jack because apparently Jack is this hot property that everybody's got to have a piece.
Yeah, but again, makes me want to fucking move to the forest and slay all these bitches. And she's like, just give me a kiss. And he can't because he's like some fucking loser virgin who's never kissed a girl before.
Well,
and so he's like, oh,
he's in love with Lily,
the princess.
Yeah.
So then the fucking fairy gets hella pissed because women in general, if you reject a chick, they fucking want to murder you. They get so pissed if you reject them.
Yeah. So then Gump basically is like, you're going to let us out. This isn't a please situation. So she finally relents and lets them out, but then closes the door on Jack. And then somebody else has to come back and open the door for him.
Yep. And then the devil's now talking to the troll. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to try to go get that girl's booty.
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to woo her. You can't just fucking kidnap her and. And this is where I was like, is this motherfucking Beauty and the Beast?
It kind of
so now it's like fucking rip off of fucking Peter Pan, Beauty and the Beast, and fucking some other movie.
And like Narnia.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah. And then the princess is there, and it looks like it's fucking the Total Eclipse for the Heart video.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's just running in slow-mo through pillars, through like this beautiful-ass mansion, right? And then she finds the table and has all that jewelry and shit on it, and she's like, ooh. Then she gets hypnotized. She's probably just some gold digger-ass princess.
But then that's when she gets hypnotized because she looks into the mirror and sees her evil self. Or what she could be. And that's when her evil self comes out of the mirror and which I remember this part when I was a kid. It was creepy as hell.
I don't.
I don't know if it resonates the same right now, but and she starts dancing with her evil self. And then becomes her evil self. That was kind of cool, though.
Oh, okay. That's where that comes. I was like, I think there's just some random ass dark shadow figure dancing with her. And then we finally see the devil, and she slowly faints to the ground.
Well, yeah. Which then we fully see the devil. This is Tim Curry, who also played Pennywise in the It miniseries. On what is it, 4 or 5 foot stilts?
Damn.
Yeah. So he's walking around on stilts. So he's a 9-foot devil man.
There you go.
Pretty impressive. Like nowadays you get CGI. Back then it was like, Tim, don't take a wrong step because you're about to eat it.
I bet you thought that I was dead. Really mad at the song.
Yeah. Thank you for beating the shit out of me.
So he tells her that he likes her, and she's like, no, and fucking does a long no. Like, you know how fucked up that'd be if you went to some girl that you like, you was like, hey, I like you. She's like, no, like that was the fucking worst news they've ever had in their life. Like, god
So
damn.
he's like the male grenade.
Right? Like that's fucked up. He has like
Like an atom
0% body fat. Like
Yeah.
he's yoked as fuck. He has gigantic horns. I mean, you know, but she
He's-
like
He's going to give you
completely
big red
rejected him.
babies.
She was not having it, man. What he keeps trying to get it, and she keeps rejecting him, and then finally it cuts back to fucking homeless Peter Pan and his crew
And they're
of
like
delinquents
working their way up his devil mountain. It's like a hill or a mountain or something that we see from the outside, and they have to start from the bottom and work their way up.
Wherever they come up with an idea to just gather up as much shiny shit as they can and bring light down to the darkness.
Yeah, because they're gonna try to put light onto darkness. Which at this point I was like, "Is this a Jesus movie?" Because I feel like we're headed in that direction. I don't know what's going on here.
I remember this part as a kid though. They did have that little fucking troll kid in a pie crust, and they had the thing over it with all those crows in it. They're like, all right, let's just get him out. You know,
that was that part. That's when we find out that Blunder is actually one of the little people who's been hiding in armor to not die.
Yeah. Well, it was really fucked up because
it's a really long con. Like he's been there for a while.
I just imagine that all of them were adults and fucking Tom Cruise picked him up like a baby. Like, I just remember Hasbulla and Mike Tyson when Hasbulla was like 21 years old and Tyson thought he was like a 5-year-old kid. So Tyson picked him up and was wrestling with him and like tried to bite his ear.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you're fucking, 2 feet tall and Mike Tyson picks you up and starts wrestling like a kid? Like, what the fuck are you going to do? Nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what exactly the guy's probably like, don't pick me up like a baby, please. No matter what you do,
it's
don't do it.
It's beneath me. Yeah.
Right. He's like, oh, watch this, Charles. And he fucking does it anyways. Like, that's fucked up. Right.
You know who the fuck I is, Charles? I'm the Juggernaut.
So then they start finding all these big ass like metal plates and shit. And they're throwing around like frisbees.
Oh yeah, this is after they knock out or no, this is before or after they knock out the butcher.
They wake the butcher up
by being loud.
And there's that lame ass fight scene.
Like you can't walk
and then
14 steps and go hand it to the next person.
Yeah. Like, here, our life just depends on it. Let's fucking frisbee this thing that's twice as big as us. Yeah. Hopefully we don't wake up the butcher who's fucking 4 times as tall as us. Yeah. And they had that lame ass fight though. So again, makes me want to think that, dude, if I ever went down to fucking hell, I'd run that motherfucker. Because you guys what if their hell is like, what if they used to be like amazing fighter and they go down hell, they're just like, well, guess what? Now you don't know how to fight at all. That could be their hell.
That could be hell, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. And then the devil and the princess are trying to have dinner. He confesses his love for her and she keeps fucking rejecting him over and over and over again. And he keeps telling her to sit down.
Yeah.
And she keeps being like, I'm not going to sit down. I'm going to keep standing up. He's like, God damn it. Will you please just sit down? It's like, it's like, nope, not going to do it.
Insolent woman.
Yeah, that's fucking, she got him so pissed, dude.
I know. Like he's doing that thing, like it's like you ask you ask your kid to do something and you're like, please. And you're like, the please is becoming less please.
So then she did the tricky thing where she's like, I'll stay if I get to kill the unicorn. And he instantly fucking chubbed up and ejaculated in his pants. He's like, ugh.
She said yes.
He's like, oh, God damn it. He's like, there goes my pants for the month. Yeah. So Well, by this point, Jack and them have like found them, and now they're like at a red wedding balcony on his ass. And
Yeah.
he only has one fucking arrow apparently. And so there's like, Jack, you got to take the shot. And they're like, you need to kill her because she started looking like she was possessed, taken over by the darkness chick. You know?
Yeah. Which she's
but
like
Jack's like, well, who do I shoot?
She won't be killed, yeah.
Yeah, so Jack didn't know who to shoot. Should he shoot her or should he shoot the devil? You know? And so then he fucking, at the last minute, hurry and turned and fucking shot the devil in the neck. And since he's the devil and he's like, 20 feet tall and 0% body fat, he probably weighed fucking 2 tons?
Yeah.
Just some yoked motherfucker. Didn't even phase him. Didn't phase him at all, man.
I think this is around the point that they reveal that Blix and Pox did go back and get the second unicorn, and they have it tied up.
Oh, yeah, I think. And so then I just remember somebody threw the unicorn horn to him, and he stabs him. He stabbed the devil, and then for some reason when he stabbed the devil, the light fucking FBI raided the door and kicked the door wide open. It's like, boom, FBI, open up. And fucking the light comes in to the layer of darkness.
To the layer of darkness, and it takes out the devil. Right? We're almost there. But I know during that fight scene, one of my favorite moments is the devil just straight up picks up Tom Cruise like a rag doll, face palms him into the wall, and it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, because then he finds that gigantic ass sword, like that fucking, what the fuck is that fighting game?
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, he grabs that gigantic ass fucking thing,
the cloud
and
sword.
chops the devil's hand off.
Yeah.
And so the devil flies away into space like fucking Superman 2.
Which
you're like, that's not going to work. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the world is saved from darkness.
Yeah. And then fucking Jack, homeless fucking Peter Pan, again, brings her back to the cliff. He's like, watch this. And swan dives into the cliff. This time goes all the way down and finds the ring. But then he fucking dolphin launches his ass out of the water when he gets the ring.
Yes.
He's like, is this motherfucker human? Like, what the hell is he doing? He's like, and he wiggled his body like that, man.
I know. It was pretty impressive. I mean, he showed up. He parachuted into the Olympics and then drove out on a motorcycle. So is there anything he can't do?
Man. No.
Guy's
I was about to say, he can, like I said, I like Tom Cruise, man. I think he's fucking a great actor, but this movie, holy shit, you gotta start, we suck at our podcast, if we ever fucking make it big, I guarantee people are gonna be like, hey, remember your first episode? Yeah, you're a dipshit. I'd be like, yes, I encourage you to tell us how big of a nerd I am. Like, I've said it from episode 1. Yep, thanks for listening to our nerdy voices. you know? I'm not coming out here being like, I'm the best podcaster in the world. No, I know I'm a nerd. I know I make mistakes. I fucking,
Well, yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing is I watched the director's cut, and that's after watching the theatrical cut, and it explains more, but it explains some things that need explanation, but other things that don't. Like you could you could have done a throwaway line and explained it, and I would have been like, okay, I believe you. I don't need to see that.
Well,
but yeah.
Yeah, the weird thing is he puts the ring on her finger, and then he kisses her and says, I love you. And then she wakes up and she thinks it's all been a dream.
Yeah, that was really confusing.
Like, what the fuck? And then it's such bullshit and cringeworthy. Like, she asks him, she's like, hey, can I come back tomorrow? And there's a gigantic ass long pause. Like, fucking Tom Cruise, like, fuck, I forgot my line.
Yeah.
I'm homeless Peter Pan. Okay, yeah, I just said the world. And he's like, yeah, of course. And then there's another long pause, and she's like, fuck, I forgot what he was going to say because there was such a long pause in between that one. Now I got to do this. And then he asks if she'll sing to him. Like, what the fuck? No. Hey, can we get down? Like,
Yeah.
I just defeated the devil. I swam in that fucking lake. There's a unicorn. I still have a hard on from fucking 4 days ago when you fucking left me, you know? And then what the fuck? Is her family alive or are they dead? Because fucking if she thought it was, you know, there's no longer frozen shit. Right?
Well, yeah, because they don't really go back to the forest people and show that they're not frozen anymore, but I think we're supposed to assume they're not.
Yeah, then there's just a big old montage of people and animal running in the forest and waving by, and then Jack just fucks off into the sunset.
So we're back to the happiness of this forest where nobody can breathe because there's shit floating in the air.
Yeah. So what the fuck? Did Jack get that ass or what?
I'm assuming he did.
And then he just left her. So thanks for that pussy. Fucking took off.
I think the implication is they're supposed to get married because she said she'll only marry the person that finds this ring as she chucks it in the water.
Yeah, dude.
That's the way I took it. But
I've gotten laid for so much less work than what Jack did.
I know he does so much work for this,
but I also don't look like a motherfucking homeless fucking Peter Pan.
Which, I won't say I watched this movie twice because I enjoyed it so much. I'll say I watched it twice because there's so many characters that it was so hard to keep up.
This was a gigantic mix of like Beauty and the Beast, fucking Snow White, fucking Peter Pan, Narnia, whatever the fuck.
Jeez. Yeah.
You know?
Which it's still kind of mind-boggling that this came after Alien.
What? Who the fuck was an alien?
Ridley Scott directed Alien.
Oh.
Yeah. So
it's like, who is this audience for, man? Because Twilight douchebags weren't around yet.
That was the other thing is I was wondering, like, who are you making this movie for? Because, like, if you're trying to make this for adults, you got to pump up the gore. If you're trying to make this for kids, you got to pump up the laughter. Like,
I really fucking Tom Cruise, honestly, how many words do you think he said in this movie? Fucking 50 words?
Maybe.
Top?
But in the director's cut, he says significantly more because he says nothing for 45 minutes in the theatrical cut.
Well, I thought that this is going to sound really weird. I thought this was like a movie when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm looking at it and I was like, there's not a lot of, like, honestly, there's not a lot of dialogue in the movie.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not like.
I don't need, like, this movie, you don't need a ton of dialogue, but if you have a few well-placed dialogue scenes here and there to try to, like, explain some things, move the plot along a little bit, like, you could trim this down and have it make more sense at the same time.
You could probably trim it down to like a 20-minute decent TV show and then end it.
But, I mean, it is what it is. It was entertaining. My favorite part is the 9-foot devil man because Tim Curry, I mean...
Yes, that was the coolest part, was the fucking devil, the makeup, everything like that.
He steals the show. Like, Tim Curry is amazing not in makeup because he was in Home Alone 2. I remember that. He was the hotel guy in Home Alone 2 that was
Donald Trump was in Home Alone 2.
He was in that too, yeah. But but he was in Home Alone 2 without makeup, and he was entertaining. But he was also
Who was he?
Pennywise, and he's entertaining.
Shut up. Who? What?
He's Tim
What
Curry.
the fuck is his name? Hold the fuck up.
Tim Curry.
If it's who I'm thinking it is, no fucking way.
Yeah, he's.
Shut the fuck up. That's him?
That's him.
What the fuck? What if that was his natural body, dude? What if Tim Curry just fucking hit the gym for like fucking 8 years straight to get that devil role?
He probably got in shape, but he's probably wearing a giant prosthetic.
Dude, that guy?
But yeah, that's Tim Curry. Yeah.
That's fucking official, man.
I do feel like this movie would have benefited from more of him, because the fact that you keep hiding him is the problem. And I think they were onto something when they recut it and reshot to put him in the forefront, because even they realized that like he's kind of the movie. Like if you don't have enough of him,
like it was. I think there, like I said, there was a lot of other movie ideas that were in it. Like, I know I was making fun of him looking like Peter Pan, but he fucking was. Well, yeah, he did look like, but it also seemed like it was going to be, a beast kidnaps a woman, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking this person needs to do this. Yep, that's Peter Pan. Oh, they're asleep and they need to do this. Yep, that's fucking Snow White. Oh, they're going to do this. It's a fucking magical land. Yep, that's Chronicles of Narnia.
Yes, we plunge the world into winter. Like, okay, yeah.
Like, I think they try to put too much into it and they didn't explain fucking anything. Like, without all those dialogues or, the lack of dialogues and lack of fucking sentences and shit like that, like, all of a sudden they just fucking expected everybody to know that a fucking unicorn is going to bring peace to the world.
Yeah, that didn't really come through clearly, and I think it might surprise you. They actually cut storylines out of the movie because they felt there were too many storylines.
But you know what? To be 100% honest, if they fucking did a remake of it and fucking Tom Cruise, I mean, he fucking hasn't aged a fucking day. If Tom Cruise came back and played Jack and everything like that, like I'd rewatch it,
I'd watch it.
But just this original version of it, it was fucking like, God, it fucking was boring. It was, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't any kind of fucking dialogue. There wasn't any kind of explaining shit. Like, it was just like, God damn, man.
Like, yeah. It just felt like a lot.
Fight scenes were weak as shit. And then like it was really confusing too. Like even when they were down in hell and like they were running and then all of a sudden they're right back into their cage and you're like, what? Wait a second.
Yeah, there's also, like there's no sense of geography anywhere in this.
And then were you in a fucking volcano? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, where does all the heat go? Yeah, that's a great question. But it's fun. I think it's like it's worth a watch. I'll say that.
I mean, dude, how long was this movie?
Hour and 53 minutes.
God damn.
The theatrical cut is 87 minutes.
What the fuck? What'd they add?
They added a bunch of stuff in the front that had all of Tom Cruise's dialogue on their way to go see the unicorns. And then they added
what they cut in the fucking theatrical version.
That stuff. And then they cut some of the stuff with Gump and when he confronts Tom Cruise.
The theatrical version is 30 minutes less than the fucking director's cut.
Yeah. Well, 23.
But yet in the theatrical version, it adds 5 minutes to the beginning of the movie.
So they cut
even what the
31,
fuck?
31 minutes, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm never going to watch. Well, I mean, I probably watched the theatrical version when I was a kid, but no, I'm not going to watch that shit again. Anyways.
Ready to close this out?
Yeah.
All right.
I was doing so much talking of how disappointed I was in this movie. I didn't even finish my gigantic drink this time. That's embarrassing.
It's all right. All right. Well, thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you, everybody.